Much better. Oh, God.
Make sure that doesn't come undone. Yeah. That's good, so I can just read.
You got your watch still on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the chain. You gotta always have that.
This is what happens when you don't pack enough stuff.
Right. Or when you sleep in.
Well, Las Vegas is good.
What is it?
Las Vegas.
Oh,
I guess you can start.
All right.
I would think you were in charge. You take your break after.
Do we get a chance to ask for feedback? There will be a Q&A. I'm not used to being
Hey, Danny, are you filming it? Okay.
No, sweetheart, just keep your, keep it all inside there.
Oh, you'll be safe, don't worry.
Are you wearing a bra?
Yeah. 12 to 2. I'm all covered up.
All right, everyone. I think we're going to get started with the next session. Good afternoon. I'm Michael Seiger, publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review, live. The Domain Sherpa Review is where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors, people we call Sherpas on DomainSherpa.com, and find out what they're thinking about specific domain names. So it was an idea that Paige Howe suggested to me a few weeks ago, and we've been running this show every Wednesday afternoon with the panelists that are up here, with Amar Kuba sitting in for Paige Howe. And every week we get multiple portfolios from domain investors just like yourself, and we sit down as a panel and talk about what we like, what we don't like, what's overpriced, what's underpriced, what's a burgeoning industry, and what should be dropped. A lot of the times we'll see great domain names, and some of the times, we consider it sort of an intervention. This is our good duty, helping people see reality with respect to the domain names. Last week we picked a theme of education. So we said, Domain Sherpa audience, send in a single education-related domain name that you would consider selling, and we reviewed about 35 of them and had a great discussion. So today we decided to review domain names of people here at the conference. So we went around, and earlier in the morning, Adam and I, when we did our presentation yesterday, we said, send me an email with domain names, and a bunch came in, and thank you for those. And then later on in the day, people came up to me outside, and they're like, really, can I send you a domain name? And I said, yes, pick a domain name. And then later, when we got drunk, you can see what happened with Amar, and people started suggesting more domain names, and so we couldn't turn them down. So we've got a great list of about 20 or 25 domain names, and the whole idea is that the experts on this panel are going to review it. The experts all come at it from a different perspective. So if you haven't seen the Domain Sherpa review, what I love is that on one hand you have Adam, who has done a tremendous amount of development. He understands development, he understands business models. Not that everybody else doesn't, but he really has a forte in development. So when he looks at a domain name, he looks at it from the business development standpoint, and can I make an operating business? Whereas Rick will look at it and say, if it's not worth $100,000, I don't even want to talk about it. So it's a great pairing there. And then in the middle, I think Mike Berkens and Paige Howe look at it from the flipping perspective. They both have marketplaces, they both buy and sell on a regular basis, and they both have different ways of looking at the same domain. So Amar is gracious enough to join us today and fill in for Paige Howe's big shoes. He's size 12, I think. And we're grateful to have him. Amar, of course, is, as you've probably seen from the previous session, is CEO of Thought Convergence and operates DomainTools.com and Aftermarket.com and has a tremendous amount of experience in the domain industry as well. So those are our Sherpas for today. In every single Domain Sherpa show, we usually feature one or two portfolios from domain investors, experienced or novice, and then we usually look at a marketplace portfolio. Maybe it's NameJet, maybe it's Domain Holdings email that I got in, or a GoDaddy auction that I'm watching, or something, and we'll take a look at them and we'll review those to see what's a good price, what nobody is bidding on, what is clearly overpriced. And then at the end of the show, we play a game called Registered or Available, where I try and trick the Sherpas into thinking that a domain name is either registered or available, and they try and guess based on their worldly knowledge and years of experience whether that domain name is registered or available. So today we're going to abbreviate it. We only have an hour, which may seem like a long time, but once we get these guys going, they get on a roll. And so we're going to do a domain portfolio of people's portfolios in the audience. Now, it's unique to have audience members on the show. And if we get to a point where we're talking about a domain name and maybe one of the Sherpas doesn't understand it or wants some input, the domain owner should feel free to raise her or his hand and talk about the domain name. We want to encourage that. If you feel uncomfortable, no worries at all. Just we'll pretend like the owner's not in the room. So that's going to be the agenda for today. Before I start with the show, Danny has a cartoon that was just emailed to me yesterday. It's a cartoon that has been put out onto namepros.com. And can you guys see this? It's a little caricature of everybody on the Domain Sherpa Review. You gotta take a look at this. That's you in the right-hand corner, Rick.
Look what I'm saying. Look at it.
Yeah, you look good, Mike.
Yeah, what the hell's with that? What the hell's with that, man?
I think you and I actually look alike on there, but it's a good thing you put the Canadian flag on you. Yeah. So anyway, the author of this is Eric Lyon, I guess, and I didn't realize it because I'm a big fan of dnforum.com, but I guess they have a cartoon section on NamePros, and it was great to see this. A reader pointed it out to me. So with that, we're going to open up the domain names. We're going to flash up the 20 domain names that have been submitted. There are prices next to the domain names. I asked everybody that submitted one to come in with an asking price. This is a non-binding price. But if you were to sell it, my question to them was, if you were to sell that domain today, how much would you take? So that was the question. It may be high, it may be low. We're going to figure this out. So I'm going to start right here on my right with Adam Dicker, and I'm going to ask him to look at the domain names and categorize them and tell us how he looks at them. What domains are $50,000 and above? What domains are $10,000 to $50,000? What are $1,000 to $10,000? What are below $1,000 and what might be dropped? So we're going to start with there, Adam.
The only thing I can say to start with is that I need better glasses because this thing's pretty small. Is it all right if I get up and go look at them?
Go look at them.
Well, you'll see when you guys try. This is a 40 to 50-year-old panel. All right. All right, so some people are going to be happy with some of my evaluations and some people are going to be pissed. All right, $797. I'm not really big into numeric domain names, and while it's labeled at an asking price of $120, I would personally put it at around $10 to $50. Aim click at 27. Not really that interested in that one because it should point and click would be a lot better than aim. I don't tend to do a lot of aiming on my computer. Well, Arley Beach. I'll leave that one alone. It's a hand cream joke we had earlier. Arley Beach. Never heard of it. I'm sure it's great. 1 to 10. Auction Block. That's a decent name. I put it at 10 to 50. Avatars, I put greater than 50. Custom T-shirt is a good name at 10. I put it between 10 and 50. I think the plural would be much better. Diagnose, I put diagnose at greater than 50, which is the category I have. Discount.org, 25, I would probably put that between 10 and 50 as well. Dry chlorine, I think that one's probably too low. I think it would be more like 10 to 50. I think it's a good name. There is a lot of dry chlorine products out there. Florida Video, it's okay. I mean, I put it at 1 to 10. Florida Videos may be better. Grandma's Hot Sauce, $500. It's definitely worth that. I'd put that at 1 to 10. How to Make Money Blogging is great if you're going to sell an ebook or an informational article. $1,500 is probably a steal, even though it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think it's a steal at $1,500. I'd put that at 1 to 10. Lawyer Houston, it's okay because you got to be careful because when you put terms into the Google search tools, the old one or the new one, if you put Houston Lawyer, you put Lawyer Houston, it gives you the same number no matter what. In this case, the city is padded on the wrong end. Doesn't mean it's worthwhile, but it's certainly not worth $54,000.
What do you think about Jackie O?
Did I skip
Right
it?
above Lawyer Houston.
Well, it's funny that I skipped it because I really didn't think much about it. I think it's got a lot of traffic. I don't think it's worth $10,000. I put it between 1 to 10 just because of the traffic, and unless your name is currently Jackie and your last name begins with O, it really has no interest to me. But somebody that loves Jackie O may want to put up a big site about her. I mean, I used to own ElvisPresley.com, so I mean, I know what it means, but to me, not great. So Lawyer Houston, to me, it's nowhere near 54K. Medical insurance quotes, and I do sell a lot of those city and career or service names, about 5 a week or so. So I'm used to those, but I like to make sure the city's padded in the front. There are some that it's better padded in the back, but that's not one of them. Medical insurance quotes at 15K. I think that's a good one. I think it's probably worth a little bit more than that. I put it between 10 and 50. New York Dermatologist, definitely pad the right way. Good, really good keyword. It's spelt wrong though. Is that intentional? No, there's no R.
That's my spelling error.
Okay, so you almost killed. Okay, good. Who's had that anyway? All right, good. I don't know you, but I'm still saying your name's great. Oh yeah, now I do. All right, so it's a really good one. I like the singular better than the plural. Certain names, if you're a dermatologist, you're only going to want one, unless you've got a few working in your office. It's definitely worth more than 5K. I would put it between 10 and 50. Let's stop skipping. Philanthropist, 150K. I mean, it's probably worth something like that. I wouldn't be out to spend 150K on that one, but there's no reason to say somebody else couldn't do it, so I wouldn't do it. So I wouldn't say it's not worth that. Seafood.com.au, definitely a good name. Starting to notice the com.aus, getting some value out of them. So I'll put that one greater than 50 as well because I think it's got a future.
And the asking price on that one came late. It's 175, 175,000.
See, so I was right over 50.
Roughly.
That's the best category I got. All right, free cam, 25K. I just wrote on my sheet here, not for me. I mean, I'm not into free webcams besides the one on my desk. So for me, not really. Voice payments. I mean, it seems like it's a good name. Maybe eventually it'll come to voice payments. I would probably tend to put that one. I'd go 1 to 10K on it right now, but a possible future if voice payments ever take off.
All right, thanks, Adam. Let's go over to the far side. Mike Berkens. How do you classify these domains, Mike? What do you disagree with Adam about, and what do you like personally?
Well, I'll start on the top. I mean, the 797.com, I would rank that as one of the 2 best domains on the list. You know, personally, if I owned it, you know, I think 120 is low on the asking price. You know, I have a similar domain, 373, which I'm asking like over 200,000 for. So it's, you know, it's Chinese market. 3-number domains, obviously, only 999 of those. Very, very big over there. You know, I think it's cheap. You know, I think it's underpriced at 120. Obviously, for an end user. So I like that name. The other one I like, of course, is Avatars, which is another $100,000 plus name. My third one would be Diagnose on the list. Philanthropist, I think it's high for, basically anytime you're dealing with, charitable organizations, it's hard to get them to pony up, $100,000 for a domain. It's just sort of, they're there to try to raise money for charities. For them to pay, a lot of money for a domain, usually they want you to give them the name. I think it's just a tough sale. There was a name in the traffic auction yesterday. I think it was with this donor.org. Donor.org. I think it was priced, I don't know, 5 to 10 or something. I think that's probably just a better buy, probably than philanthropist. Also, not the easiest word in the world to spell, especially for me. I did notice though that the .org is a pretty big site. So if you wanted to know what you could do with that name, you can go look at that name.org, and you'll see a pretty good use for the name. Seafood, the AUs, as Adam said, they've been picking up. I think it's at 175. It's priced aggressively. I'm not that familiar with the AU market, but I think that would maybe be one of the top, certainly the top highest sales of .au if it's sold at that. I think it might be a little on the high side. This Arlene Beach, I think is a typo. I did a quick search on it. It looks like there is a beach, but it has it's AIR. So I would say that, based on that, if it is a typo, it's kind of worthless unless it gets a lot of traffic. AimClick, I don't get it. I do like Auction Block. I think it's brandable, definitely in that it could sell for 25, it could sell for 50, it could sell for 75. It's it's a good brandable name, I think. Custom T-shirts in that 10,000 range. Again, of course, the plural will be better. Florida Video, I don't really like it. The best maybe play on that is that there will be sort of a dot video, and maybe in in the new GTLD world, when there's a dot video, Florida dot video might be something, and Florida Video .com might become more valuable than it is now. How to Make Money Blogging is a good $1,000 to $10,000 name. Medical insurance quotes, I assume that would be, the 10 to 50 with the Obamacare and the mess that's going on. That's certainly something that, could be, I see selling in that sort of range. Lawyer Houston, I don't like really at all. I talk about it every week. The amount of verticals on the new GTLD strings, there's going to be 7 legal new GTLDs coming out. So, Lawyer Houston, obviously Houston Lawyer I think would be better, but there's going to be a .law and a .lawyer and a .attorney and a .esquire, so and a .legal. So there's going to be a lot of variations for somebody who wants to register or buy that type of name, and that they can go out and register it and buy it. And maybe even Houston.law would be better, and so would maybe Houston.esquire, or all of them arguably would be better. So I don't love that one. Jackie O, we know who that was for. I guess it's sort of brandable in a way, but I don't know. I don't love that one either. What else am I missing? Voice payments, don't really get it, not that big on it. The New York Dermatologist I like, still has some risk on the GTLDs with that NYC, so I would keep that in mind, but I think, the singular and the plurals are definitely, in that ballpark or a little higher. Discount.org, I think, is priced really right around that $25,000 mark. And Grandma's Hot Sauce is, it's a nice little brandable name. That's what I got.
Mike, on the New York Dermatologist,
Yeah.
with an asking price roughly of $5K, do you think that's priced right, given that the .nyc is going to be coming out soon?
Yeah, I do. I think that's that's fair. I mean, dermatologist.nyc, I'm not sure if that would wind up on their premium reserve list or not. Theoretically, it could be registered for $50, and it could be for a dermatologist in New York just as good, especially if they were in the city as opposed to the state. I guess I missed the free cam. I really like names that start with the, but I don't like this one. I don't even mind 3, I just don't like it. There is also going to be a .cam, So maybe that, you know, when there is a .com, maybe that gets more of a play. Maybe that becomes more valuable potentially. But I really don't like that name. It's certainly not that price.
All right, we're going to go over to my robed friend here, Amar. What are your thoughts, Amar? What do you like? What do you dislike? And how do you bucketize them by the sort of the major categories I have listed there?
Sure. Well, I think we're probably all going to be saying around the same thing. So I think what makes more sense for me is just to say what I do like and what I don't like, or what I think is overpriced or underpriced. Aimclick.com, I don't get that at all. That's one, I think other people have said the same thing. Maybe the owner could explain it to us. Arley Beach, if that's a typo, I don't like it at all. And even if it wasn't a typo, I never heard of it. I really like Auction Block a lot. I think that's a really great brandable, and I think to the right buyer, that's a six-figure name. I would pay $25K for it. Custom T-shirt, I like a lot.
26? Do I hear 26?
27? Where's Joel when you need him? Go ahead.
Yeah. CustomT-shirt.com I like a lot too. I think that's underpriced actually. That's one of the, I think, a really good deal. There's, well, I like it because I think we're moving to a lot more customization, and people like to have what they want to have, and that's a big market. There's a few big sites out there that do that. So I think that's an easy one. FloridaVideo.com I do not like. Not at 10K. I don't really get it. If the only thing I was thinking it could be maybe for a videographer. I mean, nobody's going to want to go look at videos of Florida, I don't think. So maybe a videographer, and then most of those you'd be better off with a local city plus video. So howtomakemoneyblogging.com, that's a long name, but I think it's a great one. And you could definitely do affiliate stuff on there and ebooks, as Adam said. So I think that's a bargain. Lawyer Houston, I don't like. I'm really big on names that kind of make sense and that are intuitive. So I wouldn't buy that at all. Not even for 1,000. Seafood.com.au I think is a great name. I don't know much about the AU market, but that does seem pretty expensive to me. Thefreecam.com. I like some names with the at the front of them, especially the domains. But and this one is brandable, but I think that's way too expensive. Philanthropist.com is probably one of my favorite names on there, but it's way overpriced. Well, it's not way over. It's way overpriced for what I would pay with my rule of thumb of 10x. But I really do like that name. Voice Payments, that name has a lot of future potential. Today, I wouldn't pay much for it. If it, you know, there's a lot of activity in payment type names, and those things are valuable. But this one is on a future that we don't know if it's going to go that way. NewYorkDermatologist.com is a bargain at 5K in my opinion. Even if there is dermatologist.nyc, there's a lot of dermatologists in New York. So I think it's a bargain at 5K. And there's some up in
All right,
Yeah, I
and
think that's
so,
it.
for example, Amar, thefreecam.com, you don't like that at 25,000. If you had that in your portfolio, what would you list it at on aftermarket?
25,000.
All right, there you go.
But no. There's a difference. There's a difference between what I would pay and what the
Sure.
domains I like and how much I would want to sell for. I'd probably list it for even, I want more, but
Right.
what I'm saying is I don't think it's worth that to somebody who's going to make use of it, but.
Right. So I should clarify that all of these asking prices are retail price, and then we're evaluating based on retail, but also, you know,
Yeah, but even at some of the retail prices, New York Dermatologist I think is way underpriced.
right.
I think that's a great name.
Good point. All right. Last but definitely not least, Rick, we'd love to know what you, with your long hold strategy,
It's all
likes.
pigeon shit. No, I'm only kidding. Okay, so 797. The numericals are just worth money, period, and they're only going up in value. So it's a winner any way around. You can get anywhere from, I wouldn't sell a 3-digit .com for anywhere under 100 grand, and most of the time I'm quoting close to $500,000 now. because that's where the market's going, and it's going to exceed that. Like Mike says, there's only 999 of them, and they're very easy to find. It's an address. That's why I got them originally. I got about maybe 12 or 15 of those, because I just saw them as just an address, like on a street number. Anyways, that's a good one. Aim click, like everyone else says, I don't get. Arley Beach has no. What's that? Okay. Okay, well, the one I really like is Auction Block. That's a monster. That's a absolute monster domain name worth much more than $25,000, and to an end user could easily be worth $250,000. Want to go partners on 25,000? I mean, we can't lose on that one. So that's a winner. Avatars is another winner. Just got to find the right person for it. Custom T-shirt is obviously instant business. Diagnose is a good domain name. Dry chlorine, I guess there's a dry chlorine out there, so for that, it absolutely has the value. Florida Video doesn't mean too much to me. I think if it was going to be a video person, that it would probably be better targeted to a city, a very small area, instead of a general area. How to make money blogging, okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't care how long a domain name is. 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, it doesn't matter. It has to mean something, okay? You read it, you know exactly what you're going to get when you go there. It has value. Jackie O, I don't think it has $10,000, but it could be valuable to someone that writes a book on Jackie O, or just someone that follows her. Lawyer Houston, I don't get. You know, it's backwards. Medical insurance quotes, terrific, especially right now. The only thing that I wish would be on a list like this, and it's missing every time, and no one wants to give the details, you got to include type-ins. You know, do not ignore it. If it gets 1, you should include it. If it gets 0, include it. If it gets 10 a day, whatever it is, if you don't include it, you're hurting yourself. Just include it. I need that information. I can build on 1. I cannot build on 0. 100 times 0 is 0. 100 times 1 is 100. You know, it's a huge, huge difference, and no, you shouldn't talk about domain names without talking about type-ins if you're talking to a domainer. Now, an end user, if he wants to know type-ins, screw him. He doesn't deserve to know. It's none of his business. You know, really, it doesn't matter. If you're an end user, type-ins really don't matter unless there's real volume. But in general, doesn't matter. But for a domain owner or a domainer, it absolutely matters. And if you're going to send, you know, really, don't send stuff asking for money without including how much traffic it gets. I'm just going to throw it in the garbage. Most real domainers are going to throw it in the garbage. I want to know. It got 30 hits last year. It got 30 visitors last month. It got 30 visitors yesterday. It got 3 visitors yesterday. You see, you're embarrassed because your domain got 3 visitors. Let me tell you, that's a great domain. 3 visitors, 5 visitors, 10 visitors. There's something there, and it proves other people are thinking like you are. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. Seafood.com.au, again, I don't know that much about CCTLDs, but I will say this. When you get CCTLDs, GTLDs, any of the crap, you better start with 1 word. If you got more than 1 word, you're off base. It'll be 100 years before those babies come in. So if you want to get money in your lifetime, you better stick with 1 word that means something. So seafood.com.au obviously has great value to someone in Australia, no question about it. I don't know what the number is because I don't follow those domains. The free cam I don't like at all. Philanthropist, again, it's a long, hard to spell. It could be good for the end user. That'll come up with. I love Grandma's hot sauce. Perfect. 500. See, that's how you pick a domain name. $500. It's worth whatever it is to a company that may come out with it. And you can already see the bottle. You see Grandma's picture in the little round thing in the hot sauce. It's beautiful. Anyway, and it costs no money. New York Dermatologist. Again, a very inexpensive domain name because 1 treatment costs you that. Though the only thing I would say is I would have liked to see NY included in it. You know, if I'm building a business, I don't want confusion. I don't want some people to ask, geez, is it spelled out New York or, you know, not. I want them both. So for an end user, now let me see what I missed here. Voice payments. First of all, if it was going to come, it would probably be voicepayment.com. And I could actually see that because just like the new iPhone has a fingerprint, the voice payment could be a new way other than for ventriloquists or what do you call it, imitators to, but a voice fingerprint would be probably very hard to do. So I can actually see that, but as a domainer, I'm not spending $10,000 on it. I'll spend $1,000, I'll spend $500, $1,500, again, because if it does happen and I'm taking a risk that something that isn't here will be here, at least I can see an upside. Let me see what I missed. Discount.org. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. Again, .org. I mean, yesterday, donor.org to me was one of the best .orgs that I've seen, and we couldn't get above $5,000 for it. I mean, because like Mike says, the guys with nonprofit don't like coming up with any money. They think they get everything for free, and it ain't how it is, but that's how they think, and so it makes it difficult. So you have a ceiling on domains like that, but it happened to be good. And I guess that's it.
All right. So, Rick, one of the things you said was customtshirt.com was an instant business. I know a lot of people think in those terms when they're buying domain names on the drop, hand registering, going to an auction. Could I see that as an instant business? Grandma's Hot Sauce. You could see that as a business with the picture on the label. So I want to ask the panel, if you own these domain names, which one would you pick to develop first, and how would you develop that domain name? So let's start with you, Adam.
Just pick one?
Just pick one, or maybe two.
I would, well, if I'm going to pick two, it's a little easier. I'm going to go with diagnose.com. I'm going to build out a really good site similar to WebMD so that everybody can go to the web and think they've got these conditions they don't actually have. Because you put in like a bruised thumb and next thing you know, you've got cancer. So, I mean, it's, I've done it. I've got a bruised foot. Next thing I know, it's going to go gangrene and fall off. So, Wendy, quick, we have to go to the doctor, WebMD says. So diagnose.com would be good. I'd build that into a nice big site. And then I think I'd like to take a shot at New York dermatologists. Because I think there's tons of them there, and I think the seller is realistic. Kudos to you. I think the seller is going to make a lot of sales, and he's going to be much more successful in this business than he is today, because we can all use more success. I think his prices are right. I think he's knows what he's doing. And I'd like to take a shot at building that one out and doing some lead generation.
And you've done that on a lot of your domain names and for clients where you take geographyservice.com or other extensions and you build them out and you rank them well?
Thousands of times.
All right. So if the owner of that domain wants to chat with Adam afterwards, that's an opportunity right there.
Yeah, we'll make more than 5,000 together.
All right. Let's go over to you, Amar. Which ones do you like on the list that if you owned, would you choose to develop out? And one or two.
Yeah, I would do customtshirt.com just because I think that is just easy, or it seems like it would be easy, and huge market, a lot of demand. And then, so that one's easy to do. I don't know about dry chlorine, but it sounds like it would be something that you could sell easily online, so I'm not sure. I'd have to learn more about it. But that's obviously a product domain, and if there's a demand for it, then I would sell that. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of search volume, so definitely, yeah. I guess custom T-shirt is probably the one that I would just do first. I don't know what I would do after that.
All right. And what was the second domain name that you said, Amar?
I said dry chlorine, but I'd have to learn more about
dry
it.
chlorine.
What's really under here?
Dry chlorine. Okay. Rick, if you own this list, what would you develop out?
Actually, that's easy. Auction block. No question.
No question. So that one, so what's your idea for that? Because if I look at the statistics of the domain, it doesn't have a large search volume. It doesn't have a cost per click. There's no advertisers. That's one of the criteria that you talk about when buying some domains, is that you'll go to Google and see if it's actually a product or service that people are using. Now in this case, I think you mean it's more of a brandable?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone knows exactly. You say it, everyone knows exactly what it is. No question about it. And the only thing they may not know is what are you auctioning that day. So yeah, it's excellent brandable. It's an excellent generic at the same time. And the key word basically on a domain like that is you may not look up auction block on Google, you would look up auction on Google, and then you will see how crowded that field really is, and that's why that's a great domain name, and that's why if I was going to pick one to invest my time in, that would be the one.
And you would build an auction house on that brand.
Absolutely.
All right. Mike Berkens, what do you think of the list? What would you build out?
I think just as we sit here today, you know, I think medical insurance quotes, I mean, there's not a hotter topic. You know, it's on the news constantly, 24/7, Obamacare, medical insurance. It's a mess. Everybody's confused. I'm confused. I think that's something that people are going to be searching an awful lot for information on. And I think that's something you could build out, you know, fairly quickly. It's always been a very high-paying topic. Big commissions, big CPC. I think that would be the one.
Excellent. All right, so whenever we get submissions from the audience of Domain Sherpa and we review them, it's full of a whole bunch of different types of domains. We try and ask them to pick the top 25 to 50 domains in their portfolio that they'd like input on, and I think in every single show that we've done, there's been some trademark-related issues on some of the domain names, and we've had some discussions about them, whether that trademark could be, you know, a generic use like Target.com if you buy them in CCLDs and you're starting a Target range or something like that. There could be uses. Do you see, Mike Berkens, let's go back to you. Do you see any legal issues on this list? Anything that owners should be concerned about?
The only, you know, possible one would maybe be Jackie O. I don't know. Maybe, you know, they may have some common law rights, the family, the estate, you know, so that would be the only thing that I see here that would be potentially subject to some sort of claim.
Anybody else on the panel see any others? Omar?
The only one, well, Jackie O obviously is a potential issue. I'm not sure how long those rights last. The other one I was thinking potentially could be 797 if Boeing already has a plane. Well, but they might in the future, or maybe they have already been working on it. I don't know. That's the only possibility. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only other possibility.
All right. And so it's interesting that you'd say that, because the person that submitted it said that they like the number 7, the 7 with a number in between, and they like ones that have multiple meanings, especially ones that are products. Maybe it's a 797, 747. So that comes in if it has multiple applications. Maybe it's an airline industry magazine. So good point, and something to maybe check out and be aware of if you're looking at that. All right. So at this point, I don't want to put anybody in the audience under pressure, but you probably have your own questions about your domain names, other domain names that are up on the screen, clarifications around the Sherpa's valuations of the domains. Does anybody have a question related to any of these domains, valuing domain names, similar domain names that you want to ask?
What's your take on buying a domain, any domain, with the word "the" as the beginning lead word?
Why don't you start with that one, Mike?
I have quite a few. I mean, I probably have over 100. I get quotes. You know, I've sold quite a few. I've sold the Tour, the Crown, the Fit, the Gold, which I don't even think was particularly that good. And I get, you know, I get quotes very often on a lot of the other ones I own. So I do like it. Obviously, with one word is better than two, but there's some with two that are fine. I think it's just something that, you know, so I think because of television and the number of TV shows and movies that all use "the" in the title, sometimes it actually sounds better. You know, The Voice maybe sounds better to people now than Voice.com. You know, strangely enough. So I think, you know, I really like them. But I think it just needs to have that usage in sort of normal language. And the free cam is just nothing I've ever heard of anybody say it that way. So I don't think you can just stick, you know, the word "the" in front of any random word or two words necessarily and have a great name.
I'm going to come back to you, Rick. Adam, let's go. I'm sorry, Mike, were you?
Yeah.
Adam, you run theartofthename.com. It's 5 words. So Did you think about shortening your domain name to artofthename.com when you were originally launching? Why did you choose the?
Well, I actually picked the name because I was looking at a play on one of Donald Trump's books, The Art of the Game. So if the was good enough for him, I figured it's good enough for me. But no, I've had some, so I liked it. I don't mind it. There's certain occasions when it actually sounds better. Like do you guys have lens crafters in the States? Okay, so I had lens crafters approach me because I have theoptician.com, and they want to be known as not just an optician, they want to be known as the optician. So in a lot of cases, I mean, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the dentist, the orthodontist, the gives them some sort of positive significance in those cases. So I think that I've got a lot of them with occupations like that. So
you
I don't
still
mind it
get
at
the
all.
generic keyword, but it becomes more brandable. It becomes the brand for...
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be known as the best husband rather than husband or best husband.
Rick, what do you think about the domains?
Actually, I'm not a big fan of the domains. I mean, not .com,
Company
but
excluded.
the in the word domains, because the reason they have the in front goes back to American Express and a phone number which has 3 digits, the, and then whatever the word is to go with the. So it was the card, go for the gold. It was always the, and then a 4-letter word following it. So now, of course, it did follow onto the internet, but you really don't need it. It does sound good with some terms, and sometimes it doesn't sound good, like Mike was pointing out, the free cam, because it doesn't mean anything. So, you know, the best .com, on the other hand, would mean something. So yeah, I think you have to be very careful how you use the word the and why you're using the word the. That's my take on the.
Any other thoughts, Amar?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it all comes down to does it make sense? And so that's like the free cam, exactly. I've never heard of that before. But in certain phrases, especially like I own theoperativeword.com, right? So it's a phrase. But operative word in this case would also be good. Operative word, we know, but if it makes sense, then that's the only time I would ever buy the domain.
And how much traffic? So, Scott, you said the reason you chose that one is because it gets the most amount of traffic. How many type-ins per day would you say it gets?
I don't track that, but if you go to the site Catmo and you do it by views, you'll see that's one of the highest views, page views of that name. That's why I chose that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know why they're going there, but they are. So.
Well, they're typing it in. All right. So, any other questions that we have? Okay.
Thank you. Sorry. I have the domain name Dry Chlorine, and I'd like your opinion in relation to this name, knowing that the future of water disinfection will involve dry chlorine. Would you see it a better option for me to keep the name, which I have no problem keeping it, and developing it in relation to the current chlorine products, or hold it and wait for that future?
Adam, why don't you start?
I like the name. I hope you remember that, so we're friends. At least now we are, because I like the name. No, I think you should definitely develop it out, get it ranked as an authority site for dry chlorine, which means it would be #1 on Google, and anybody looking for dry chlorine would go there. Put some AdSense on it for now, and as the product starts to build and build,